Hey guys, Darren Asbury here with Revital Outdoors, bringing you another exciting podcast. Tonight we have another 2022 winning podcast. This time we're going to interview Mr. Kelly Readhimer. Kelly just got done winning the BFL Music City Division event on Percy Priest Lake, so we're very excited to talk to him. He's going to give a full recap to his event. He's going to talk about what happened in practice, what happened during the event as well that led him up to getting the victory. So a lot of great content coming your way. Another winning podcast we're very excited to have on here. Before we get started, Revital Outdoors is very excited to announce we are still accepting entries into our $2,500 giveaway sweepstakes. This giveaway will feature a winner at the end of the BFL season. That's when we will draw for a winner. They will receive the $2,500 giveaway package that includes products from Flambeau Outdoors, Revital Outdoors, Seagar, Costa Del Mar, Lou's Strike King, Tackle Warehouse, the Rod Glove. It's not a giveaway anybody wants to miss. So hit that link at the top of the description right below this video. It takes a few seconds to enter, and I promise you, again, you will not want to miss this. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. And if you've never heard of Revital Outdoors, we are a premium CBD company. We offer premium CBD products to all the outdoor enthusiasts out there. Our products are THC-free, made right here in America. Check them out on our website. You can also purchase directly off our website. That's www.revitaloutdoors.com. That being said, let's go ahead and bring Mr. Kelly Readhimer into the studio. Kelly, first and foremost, congratulations on your victory this past weekend. And, man, let's just get right into it. So Percy Priest Lake, we've heard a lot about it on these podcasts throughout this year. There's been several tournaments on the lake. And it's a pretty special fishery. And, it holds its own for tournament wins and everything. So let's just talk about it. What were you able to put together? What did practice look like? And what led to getting the victory?
Well, the whole reason I'm fishing the Music Cities is I'm about 45 minutes from Pickwick, so I want to come to the regional here. And I fish Percy Priest team tournaments only. Fished with good buddy Jay Melton there and Eric Blakendahl. They're both really good fishermen on the lake. So probably been on the lake 4 or 5 times, but never, other than the April tournament, never – in an individual tournament. So went out, practiced Friday. I'm looking at the water temperatures and talking to those guys, and these fish should start moving out. And I looked, being from Pickwick, fishing Kentucky Lake, we're going to scan and we're going to look. And I scanned everything that looked good, and I just couldn't find a decent school of fish offshore. And had gotten some information from some guys that somebody like Eric Blakendahl who's fishing. I looked at a spot that looked right, and we had talked about it and didn't see any fish on it. And I had a crankbait on. I'd been throwing a crankbait because 2 years ago I came here in June with Jay Melton and fished a team tournament. We had 22 pounds offshore with a crankbait, a 6XD. And, I thought that was what it was going to be. It was going to be, we were going to get to crank, one of my favorite things. And I fire. So I'm scanning out on the point, and I see like a couple, 3 or 4 dots. And here with so many rocks, fish can hide on you. And so I make a few casts on what I marked was what I thought was a few fish, and didn't get bit. And I spun the boat around, and I just made a cast up on the point. And probably in 8 or 10 feet of water, cranked it down, hit the bottom, 3-pounder. So, okay, maybe that was a fluke. Fire back in there, another 3-pounder. Fire back in there, another 3-pounder. And I said, okay, that's enough. I marked a waypoint, and I had my line up for what I was, making the cast to, but it was way too shallow to scan. Anything like that, I don't like to ride over them anyway. I like to ride, and it's tough at Percy Priest with those big rocks to see these fish on the side. You just about have to ride over them. And so, that was just a deal where I was actually frustrated and just like, where are these fish? And fired up on the point and caught one. So I ride around. I do a lot of the same thing. I look at a lot of the same type points and humps right off of spawning flats and spawning banks and pockets. And I don't find anything. And I'm actually headed back in. And a buddy of mine had said, "Hey, this is a community hole. These fish get here. But, you probably will never get to fish it. If you're not if you're not in the first 10 boats, you're not going to get to fish it." And so actually Jason Lambert called me and he said, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm so and so." And he said, "I'll be up there in a minute." He was frustrated too. We were just talking about it. So I was like, "Well, I'm close to this spot." And I stopped. And before he gets there, I fire a jig out and I catch a 3-pounder. Well, about that time he pulls up. And so I put my rod down and we talk and we drift off the spot. And by that time it's probably 4:30, getting close, and I'm ready to go anyway. I'm a little bit frustrated. I haven't found what I thought was anything special. That one school had me feeling a little good, but where they were sitting so far up on that point, I'm like, they could move out, they could move, they're just not what I felt like sitting on anything that's going to hold them for a long time. So I didn't get overly excited about that. But now Friday morning, I did start on the shad spawn and caught a couple of good fish. So I'm like, I got the shad spawn. If I can catch a couple there and then bounce around and just fish and fill out a limit and get 12 or 13 pounds, I feel pretty good.
Right.
I felt that, Friday during practice, I probably had 13, 14 pounds. And I knew the lake was fishing tough. So Saturday morning, day of the tournament, I start on that shad spawn and don't catch anything. And so I give it about 30 minutes. I'm like, nah. And shad spawns are like that for me. They're
Right.
I have had more let me down than help me.
Mm-hmm.
So, man, it's just time to go fishing. So I run down the lake. I run, right there in the Hobson Pike Bridge area, and I just start fishing. And I'm kind of giving that school, what I thought was a school of fish, time to get out there. I mean, it's early, and I fish around. I actually lose a fish. It felt pretty good. I don't know, and felt like a decent one. And I'm throwing that jig. I've thrown a crankbait some, but I'm fishing a little shallower. So I'm throwing that jig, and I'm trying to wait till 11:30 to go to that school. I'm like, man, I gotta go. I gotta go catch a fish. So I go, get on my waypoint, make my cast with a crankbait, make it, fire at it 15, 20 minutes, up on top, like out to the side, like trying to find them. Can't get bit. And I had that jig on, and so I fire it out there, and I think it was on my second cast. And when it's a tough bite, to me, I like to stroke a jig because I think it's something different than a lot of people do, and it's a reaction bite. Of course, a crankbait is, but they wouldn't eat it. And I hopped that jig one time, and one thumped it. And I set the hook. It was a 4.5 pounder. I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna get my points. I'm gonna be all right. I got a good one in the live well." And I fish around there and don't get bit anymore. And actually pick up a spoon, which I've caught them here on a spoon. I don't know what made me do it. I fire it way off off the side of the point, deep, and first cast hook up with about a 3-pounder. And I think I was so surprised I caught him that I lost my mind on how to land a fish with a spoon, and I let him jump off at the boat. And so I'm a little bit disappointed, but I'm like, so I run around. I'm still trying to see, hey, maybe some fish moved out during the, have started moving out. So I'm scanning around and I'm fishing points and I'm fishing humps, anything that I thought a fish would move to after the spawn. And nothing. And I was like, I did catch a fish on that spot where I talked to Lambert the other day or the day before. And I said, hey, if I can go catch another 3-pounder, I got 7 pounds, and I'm gonna keep my points. I didn't expect it to be all that great. I run back up there. I actually didn't expect to get it, and it's wide open. And I pull in there, sit on my waypoint, fire a jig out there. 5 minutes into it, I'm stroking that jig as hard as I can stroke it, and catch a 3.5. So I'm like, hey, this is all right. And my co-angler gets bit, and I'm like, hey, there's some fish around here, and I don't have anything else. Like, guys with history on the lake, like I would be at Pickwick, would be like running around, hopping spots. I'm like, this is all I got. So I literally sat an hour and a half and filled out a limit. I made myself stay. And I finally caught my 5th fish. It was like 12:45, 1 o'clock. And I said, you know, I want to go back to where I caught that good fish that morning, being there's only one, but let's see if more fish pulled out. And but I made myself stay there and catch a limit. But my last keeper was like a 2 1/4. He's a 16-inch. He wasn't anything.
Right.
You know, I had a decent little bag. I knew I was going to get a check and be okay, but you know, it wasn't anything special. And I go back to that spot, get there about 1 o'clock, and probably 10 minutes into it, catch another 4 1/4, 4.5. And I told my co-angler, I said, man, I got 17, 18 pounds. As tough as this lake's fishing, I might have a chance. And, but that was the, you know, that was the deal. I just had 2 spots where I got bit, and I just milked them for all they were worth. I just, you know, there wasn't anything in the back of my head saying, run to this spot, run to that spot. It's like, let's just go where we got bit.
Right. So, well, Kelly, you know, a lot of great information, you know, that you were used throughout the day. As far as like the most consistent bait that you were throwing, what do you think, you know, what was the confidence bait you had going into that tournament?
Well, anytime I'm stroking a jig, I've got a buddy in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, that ties all my jig skirts and ties a lot of my jigs. And he ties this, it's just a big old brown mop jig. And it's got a rage crawl trailer. But if I'm stroking a jig, I like to stroke that jig right there. I think that living rubber skirt, it looks a little different. You know, when you're stroking that jig, it flares a little different. It's something different than the silicone skirts that, you know, everybody else is throwing. And I will stroke a standard silicone jig skirt, but, you know, there's something about that. And I don't know if that was it, but it seemed to be the deal that day, because that's what all my bites came. I couldn't even get bit on a Carolina rig. I picked one up a few times, and I didn't get bit.
Okay. Run us through your setup to throw that jig. I know a lot of different guys throw a lot of different rods, a lot of different actions. Even they guys are, you know, hesitant on what reels to throw. Even I know guys throw braid to fluorocarbon. What's your ideal setup to throw in that big mop jig?
Well, you know, hammer rods, you know, that's, you know, they're not a sponsor. They're you know, family. They're friends of mine. Hammer rods made here, and you know, just south of here in Mississippi. I was throwing a 7.6 heavy. I like a long rod. I can make a long cast, and I'm you know, I'm snapping that thing so I can catch that slack if one hits me, you know, and throwing it on a 7.5-1 a loose reel, and I was throwing 20-pound line. You know, at Percy Priest, you better be throwing some heavier line to me, especially if you're doing something like that. Those rocks will eat you up. It's some, because a lot of times you're, especially I could tell, like I would snap it into one of those big, I guess I call them boulders, you know, and it would pop off of it. And, you know, that's rough on your line. So that's what I was throwing. And of course that 7.6, and I, you know, like with the hammer, it's got a good tip, but it's got a lot of backbone. So I can, you know, I can snap that thing up and get it started like I want it, but it's got enough tip, if, you know, that gives a little when you do get bit, but you can still, and these fish, they had it at the back of their throat. They were, you know, it was a total reaction bite, and they, you know, the ones that ate it, ate it.
Absolutely. So, well, Kelly, a lot of great information. Again, congratulations on your win this past weekend on Percy Priest for the Music City Division BFL tournament. Before we let you go, a couple more questions. First and foremost, I know you got a lot of great family, friends, sponsors in the area that help you out. Definitely want you to give a shout out to them. And also, you've got a win under your belt. You're guaranteed for that regional now in Pickwick. So, what's your goals throughout the rest of 2022?
Well, I'm sitting third in points. There's a lot of great fishermen in this division, and we're fishing. I've got a little more history on Old Hickory, but man, I would love to win the points. That's not going to be easy. You know, I'm just an average fisherman that made some good decisions on Saturday and got a win. These guys are really good. It's going to be tough to win the points, but man, I'd love to win them, and you know, I'm sure gonna try. And then we're coming to Pickwick in the fall, and that should be a fun regional.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, well, for all listeners out there, we've been talking to Mr. Kelly Readhimer, the recent winner of the BFL Music City Division tournament on Percy Priest. So, congratulations to Kelly again. Good luck to you the rest of the season. Good luck to all the anglers fishing the Music City Division and all the anglers fishing the BFLs in 2022. Before we let everybody go, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. Also, enter into that $2,500 giveaway. You've been watching the rotating banner. That link is at the top of the description right below this video. Again, this is not a giveaway that any angler out there wants to miss. So hit that link, enter in all your information. It takes just a few seconds to do, and I promise you, you will want to be that lucky angler at the end of the year. From all of us at Revital Outdoors, I'm Theron Asbury. Thank you for tuning into this winning podcast. Be safe out there, everyone. God bless. We'll talk to everyone on the very next podcast.